lively enough start to this 41st F3 derby. 10 minutes played. Nigel Bogard needs to have a conversation. Is it Lachlan Jackson to this 41st F3 derby? 10 minutes played. Nigel Bogard needs to have a conversation. Finally, we're ready. Outside again with a set piece. Bogard did reach it. Back in by Polyak. Bogard trying to hold off the attentions of Montgomery. They'll reroute it through Steven Ugarkovic. It's easy for Izzo.
Yeah, very, very poor from Steve Ugarkovic, a player who I think has got quite a future. But there's no room in his future for that sort of pass.
Mullen. Decent shape to that one, but Sawyer had gone too early again. Linesman's flag acknowledged by Stephen Lucas. Liam Rose given the hurry along by Morten Nordstrand. It's good hassling by Newcastle.
It is, and good pressure at both ends of the field, Simon. And the evidence seems to suggest that there's a lot of nervous players out there, which is good.
Understandably so. Here's a chance. Ugarkovic thumping it straight into Harry Ascroft. And it might work out quite nicely, that, for the Central Coast. Fabio Ferreira on the charge. Now Connor Payne. Two to try and pick out in the box. Payne might not need them. It was an amazing run by the left winger. They're all drawn towards the near post. It's been recycled by Adam Berry. Gets it back off Montgomery. Now with Galloway. Two with Ferreira. Nicely worked. And they've got a bit of space down that left flank. It's off Daniel Mullen though, and away for a corner.
Well, the Mariners making really good ground down the near touchline. Ferreira to Connor Payne has been the most frequent combination, but Galloway was released then and he shanked the cross horribly. So much time to deliver on the spot for one of the league's more deadly strikers in Roy O'Donovan.
Rose has come short. That ball from Ferreira goes across field. Well, they're a bit tentative going for it there, the Mariners, through Adam Berry. Cross keeping it alive. Still Roux nipping in ahead of Ugarkovic. Let's remain on the front foot. Berry. Pick out O'Donovan. Newcastle struggling to clear their lines here. Fabio Ferreira. Montgomery. Away to that right flank off Hoffman. Well, slightly overcooked by Roux, but it's worked out for Ferreira. And Roy O'Donovan going for the bicycle kick. I saw Brendan Centelab try and do one of those last night at ANZ Stadium. Similar result. Difficult to execute.
Trying to put another zero on his contract, perhaps.
Behind the boots. The Jets have just fallen in a little bit of a hole the last few minutes. It's now over 6 hours since they scored an A-League goal. Berry. O'Donovan was on his heels, but not for long. Quickly came alive to the possibility. Took it off Nigel Bogard briefly.
Made something from nothing there, Roy O'Donovan. And he made nothing from nothing here. Except got the chiropractors in the ground all excited for a moment.
So Fabio Fabio Ferreira again. Disappointing. A little bit up and down his season, Fabio Ferreira, in common with quite a few of his teammates, but of late he has found goals a little bit easier to come by. 4 in his last 9, his only goals this season.
Well, he looks to be enjoying playing in a more central position. We've, of course, become accustomed to him being a wide player. Paul Oacon's just shifted into the central attacking midfield role. He's got great penetration through that part of the field, particularly in counter-attack. He's got such fabulous speed across the ground, and in those transition moments makes the Mariners very difficult to handle. Ferreira's on his game and playing through the middle like that.
One of those players out of contract, Fabio Ferreira. It's a good, strong challenge by Mateo Polyak, likewise by Galloway. Set up again through Bogarts. Ugarkovic. Good rangy pass out towards Hoffman. He has Cowburn for company down that left touch line. Drifts inside instead and has totally overhit that release intended for Andrew Nabbout. Still getting to grips with that new position.
On Fabio Ferreira, Simon, is he still a foreigner?
Yes, as I understand it.
Right. He's been here for ages.
Yeah, has. Can't be too far away from getting the permit. If he's applied for it, maybe he doesn't want it.
Well, he had that time in the local leagues in Sydney.
It's handball by Montgomery, surely. On a Payne. Just to underline the importance of today's game with regards to the wooden spoon, a race in which, of course, Adelaide United have more than a passing interest as well. 2 games for these 2 clubs next week. Mariners go to Melbourne Victory, Jets away to Sydney. Connor Payne's been shot down by Mullen, which has angered Paul Ocon. Was it a foul, or did Payne just step on the foot of Mullen, which caused him to lose balance?
I thought it was a foul, but it wasn't in a horribly brutal category, was it?
No. Probably why Stephen Lucas didn't take any further action. Roy O'Donovan, 11 goals this season. Just 1 in his last 6, and that was a penalty against Adelaide. Mariners did have that mid-season run, which gave them such hope that they might be able to make the finals. They've fallen away since, much like the Jets. Cowburn with the infringement. Making his first start for Newcastle since January. Free kick Newcastle. Breaking news, Andy. Fabio Ferreira has got his Australian residency.
Great.
There you go.
Great. That gives the Mariners some more room to move, which is good. Yeah, those stories normally break. And maybe it did, and I just didn't hear it. There's a foul by Corbina Apia. Montgomery getting physical, half of the course.
Harry Sawyer getting physical with Harry Ashcroft, and he slips over in the box. Was there Some contact from Ashcroft. He reckons he had his ankles clipped. Interesting. Maybe the VARs are going to have a look at that one. Play continues for now. Breaking ball by Montgomery. Out towards Corbina Appiah on the right. Numbers in the box for the Mariners. Deflected towards O'Donovan, who had a lash at it and maybe collected more of Nigel Bogard than the ball. As we're continuing on with the play, I can only assume that Chris Griffith-Jones is happy enough that that wasn't a penalty. That's confirmed. Just slipped over.
It was a good burst from Sawyer, who's very obviously a huge lump of a lad and used his body well then, up until the moment when he fell.
Roux, dangerous ball, and it evades both O'Donovan and Connor Payne, arriving late at the back post.
Well, it's the Mariners at the moment, Simon, isn't it? The sweeping attack from right to left. It's good last-ditch defending, I will say that for the Jets. Nigel Bogart's challenge on O'Donovan, the last attack was a good one, and Daniel Mullen was in the vicinity enough to mean that Connor Payne just had to throw himself at it, couldn't take another option maybe and open his run a little more to try and get on the end of the ball, difficult as that would have been.
Heavy weight of possession and plenty of incursions into the Newcastle penalty area by the home team. As yet for no reward. Ugarkovic, Hoffman. Get a second bite at it. They might break kindly here for Nordstrand, whose shot was charged down well by Liam Rose. How about that for a ball from Bogart? Looking at Cowburn on a dive. Not a bad ball in either. Tell you what, Harry Ashcroft's got his hands full today with the other Harry, Sawyer. Big flick off a Mariner's head for another Newcastle corner.
Well, it was good. Crisp play from the Jets. The ball from Bogart to Cowburn, as you said, Simon, was a beauty. And then Cowburn just adjusting his position, setting the ball up and whipping it with real pace into the box. And Sawyer didn't really get a chance because of the pace of the ball to make a play. In the corner instead.
In by Cowburn. Bogart reached it again. So fair way out. So the other thing I've noticed, Andy, I don't know if you're the same, but because of the VAR system perhaps, there's a little bit less of the holding, pushing, pulling from set pieces, because obviously they know that those decisions can be reviewed.
I guess that would be a very good benefit of the VAR system if it gets rid of that manhandling from set pieces. Let's see.
Ferreira to Payne, that combination again. Final touch off Bogart. Clever little dink by Galloway. Adam Berry. Roux. Storm Roux, interestingly perhaps, missed out on a New Zealand call-up for their latest World Cup qualifiers against Fiji. Looking to put himself back in the frame perhaps ahead of the next round of qualifiers and indeed the Confederations Cup, which New Zealand are a part of, along with Australia. A little bit late on Jason Hoffman, hence the whistle. It's asking too much of Andrew Naboot. Still the Jets' top scorer with 8 goals, looking to become just the 3rd player to hit double figures in a single season for the club, following in the footsteps of Joel Griffiths and Adam Taggart. Fast running out of games. Loose from Paul Izzo. Notes being taken in Adelaide, perhaps. not quite there between the boot and Sawyer. Pumped upfield by Galloway. Lockie Jackson sees it out. Just down by Montgomery. Helps him into a good area for Fabio Ferreira. Daniel Mullen had his measure. Galloway. Polyak in the way. Nordstrom can't make progress. Well done, Nick Montgomery. This is Fabio Ferreira. Awkwardly towards that back post, but comfortable claim in the end for Jack Duncan.
Yeah, nearly catching Jack Duncan by surprise. The scramble in the end to smother that one.
This is Naboot. Nordstrands. This could work out really well for Newcastle. Daniel Mullen across the face. And Storm Roux to side-foot it behind under real pressure from Jason Hoffman arriving. Good little burst that.
Newcastle's best moment. Superb little pass from Nordstrom, and Newcastle with numbers arriving in the box. Diffused brilliantly, that UXB by Storm Roux.
Cowburn to take the corner in front of the travelling Newcastle fans. A few of them here today. It's a real gathering of players around the near post, and Paul Izzo scrambling towards his back post. Seemed to lose it in flight, fortunately for him. Too much weight on it from Cowburn. Yet again, Andy, this real sense of the tension that surrounds this occasion again today.
Yeah, it's interesting, Simon, isn't it? Because at the start of the game it manifested in great intensity and energy, and the descent, it's now, there's a pall of
fear,
exactly, lack of confidence. The game becomes error-laden, players tighten up.
I was going to call this build-up patient by the Mariners, Andy. I think it's more tentative, isn't it?
I'm terrified.
No one wants to make that crucial mistake. Good chasing by Ugarkovic. He left a bit in that on Harry Ashcroft.
But it was good intensity. But as Steve Ugarkovic is making the pressure on the ball, he needs to be more aware of the fact that his team is actually set nicely. And to give away a foul there actually lets the pressure off, because the press was taking shape really nicely from a Newcastle point of view, and all that good work now comes unstuck.
We've got a slight break because Mariners have got a problem over Corbina Appiah, and we're told that a big storm is brewing. We're not talking Storm Roux here. It's about to hit us, so fans, take cover.
Well,
maybe Appiah's got full warning and he's saying, I might have to come off.
The Mariners foresaw this because they've got the covered benches out today.
Yeah.
I did check in with the weather report. It was magnificent at kickoff and the lead up too.
Appiah back on his feet.
That's strange. It's like a stop work meeting. I mean, there's not an official drinks break going.
No.
Did I miss something?
No. Well, it was for the injury for Appiah.
But since when did that mean
they
both
took their
teams
time.
collapsed?
Yeah.
It's anything. They're grabbing life rafts.
Well, again, perhaps indicative of the pressure that surrounds both these clubs today. Happy to take a breather and have a think about things. Appiah is off the pitch just for the moment. Back with us now. It's well worked. Lovely little triangle. Pereira's cross. O'Donovan's touch. Connor Payne to set it up. Montgomery to drive it! And he gave it the full Monty. Did the Mariners skipper. And it nestles in the corner of the goal. Central Coast lead.
Well, from amidst the haze of the pile of errors comes a move of real quality. It was maybe a little accidental in the end. It looked like it might break down. The interplay down the left touchline was really superb. And the finish from Montgomery was the best part of what was a really good Central Coast Mariners attack. Jack Duncan can dive as long as and hard as and as often as he wants to get that, but he's not going to catch it. He's not going to stop it. He's not going to deflect it. Too good from Montgomery.
It's just his third A-League goal. It's his first in over 2 years in the competition. And how crucial might it prove to be? And just to illustrate further how tight things are at the bottom, that goal in the as-live ladder moves the Mariners off the foot of the ladder and the Jets to the bottom. Here they are trying to launch an immediate response. Scoops out for a corner. There it is, the as-live ladder. The Jets down to 10th. Mariners up to 8th above Adelaide.
Well, credit where it's due. That was a really nicely worked goal from the Central Coast Mariners. Great finish from Montgomery, but the lead-up was really crisp. Calburn's taken out the corner flag.
Yep, equipment malfunction.
Hang on, the ref's going to the VAR for that one, Simon.
Yellow card.
Could be a straight red. Equipment abuse.
Gets it right this time. Nothing doing for Lockie Jackson. That goal, Andy, the 16th straight conceded by Newcastle without scoring. Whoops a daisy.
You can't do that.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
There is a serious side to it, though, Andy. Mariners are asking the question. I think it's legitimate. Why does he get to retake it? It's his error.
Well, I think there would be a technicality about the corner flag being part of the field of play or something.
Interesting one.
It should definitely have been referred upstairs. No question in my mind.
The boots. Pressure really on the Jets now. Nordstrand. The boots. Offside flag. Back with Bogart. Ugarkovic. Overcooked it. No, he's done well to retain the ball. Mullen. Storm, we're told, fast approaching. Doesn't look like it at the moment, but that's what the radar's saying.
It's a decent set of colours on that radar image too.
Make things interesting for the players. Nordstrand and a direct route, and Harry Sawyer right on the edge of the box has drawn the foul. Booking two. Nick Montgomery. Score of the game's opening goal. Now the first booking of the contest as well. Fair enough, Andy?
I didn't see much of a foul on that, to be honest. He provided a good target, Sawyer, but it looked like he was, again, lost his own balance moving backwards. And it's, again, the yellow card on top.
You know, if it's a foul, OK, that's debatable, but the yellow is
exactly
very
It's
hard,
a double whammy. You're right, you're right. I would debate it was a foul in the first place, but the yellow card, I can see no place for. At any rate, good opportunity for a reprieve from the Newcastle Jets.
Meantime, Liam Rose undergoing some running repairs. Right knee area that's causing a problem. It's a bit sore, does Liam Rose. That'll be an impact injury. Up and about. Meantime, Paul Izzo has set a pretty impressive-looking wall, but it's got to do the job. A couple of Newcastle Jets players in there as well to try and cause some mischief. Maciej Poliak is lining it up. Ugarkovic is there as well. Here's Poliak, and he's blazed it into the scoreboard behind the goal. Too eager. And too high, crucially.
Yeah. And Liam Rose retakes the field. He's collected on the way through, I think. Harry Sawyer went down on the edge of the box.
Loose from Cowburn. Storm Roux. Still going. Oh, they appeal for hands. And they're pretty adamant about it. Well, another potential decision for the VAR. Storm Roux is convinced. Stephen Lucas says he saw nothing. This might tell us more. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Here we go.
Yeah, and Paul Ocon is going off his brain on the sideline.
He's being talked to at the moment.
Well,
the
this is
referee.
going to be a VR decision, hasn't it?
No, play on.
Still nothing. So, a corner from Fabio Ferreira. Roy O'Donovan trying to work the angle. Newcastle have survived. And the video assistant ref gave that one the all clear, we're told, Andy. And flying in is Daniel Mullen on Nick Montgomery. And the derby might just be about to get a little bit bad-tempered. Maybe that's non-award. If that penalty claim has been the spark.
Yeah, well, Daniel Mullen flying in there. Nick Montgomery didn't seem too perturbed about the challenge. Stephen Lucas disagreed and issued the yellow card. That was a little flashpoint.
Paul Ocon still can't believe that his team hasn't got a penalty.
Yeah, well, let's suffice to say, slowly but surely we're prizing open that can of worms, Simon.
The official word from the booth next to us, and is obviously they have to make sure it's an obvious error by the referee. Not sure that's going to help.
No, well, I mean,
with the coaches, but anyway.
And it's going to lead to debate during the week, which fans like. You know, was it, wasn't it? Comparing the Sydney penalty last night with this one here. This is going to be plenty of fuel for the fire.
Tell me what the difference is then between last night and tonight. Take it you're still thinking about it, aren't you?
Yeah, well, I think you'd need a half-hour review show for that.
Just down by Sawyer. The boot unable to break clear of the challenge though. Yeah, by Montgomery. Returned by Calburn. This is Polyak. Sneaking forward by Polyak into a good area for Nick Calburn. Three in the middle for Eddie Cross. Oh, is that a handball? Stephen Lucas says chest against Liam Rose. That one a little bit less of a shout.
Maybe in desperation more than exasperation. Storm Rue was convinced that his last effort hit a Newcastle hand. So Storm Rue, a really impressive burst, by the way. Pins his ears back, fires at goal. How's that hit his hand?
The arm is out, isn't it? It's away from the body.
And here's the other one, Calburn whipping the ball in. Well, what I can guarantee people is that the VAR is looking at all those angles, not waiting for an invitation. He's looking at them and he's decided that Liam Rose, that ball didn't hit his hand conclusively. But wow.
So if we thought the VARs were going to stop the talking points, we were mistaken.
Yeah.
Meantime, Mariners have got another injury concern. They've had 2 or 3 of these in the first half. Corvina Appiah the first one, Liam Rose the second. Now it's Harry Ashcroft who's got a problem with that left foot. Or is it just another equipment malfunction? This time the boot. Not the boot, the boot.
You beat me to it. Well, he's hobbling. Very obviously. He's the third Mariner to hit the turf and require attention.
Mark Jones, in his first season, of course, as head coach of the Newcastle Jets, does not want a wooden spoon next to his name. As things stand, they would be in 10th spot if it stayed this way. Big half-time team talk coming up for Jones. Perhaps the most important so far of his Jets career. They've got to try and find a way back. Could be an opening about to develop here. It's Nordstrand. Nabbout wants it. He does get it slightly behind him. He's forced to readjust. Ugarkovic to move it wide left, and Calburn still plenty forward for the Jets. Nordstrand, decent first touch, and then he left a bit on the follow-up on Harry Ashcroft, who's taken another whack. The Mariners are upfield through Fabio Ferreira. It's Connor Payne on the left. Payne trying to bend it into that left-hand corner of the goal with his less favoured right boot. And the Jets got numbers back. Interesting first half though, Andy.
Well, it's been in equal measure exciting, head-scratching, frustrating and controversial.
Ferreira getting away from Bogart. Then the cross with the outside of the right boot. Seen that's executed a few times by different players today. Maybe as it turned out, he'd have been better off going with the left. The 2 minutes of stoppage time. Blocked off by Andrew Nabbout. Cleared away by Bogart. Jets know that simply cannot afford to concede a second with half-time looming. Footwork by Galloway. This is Payne. And there was an offside flag against Connor Payne. Here's another look at that controversial moment. Now that angle perhaps tells us a slightly different story, or does it, Andy?
Possibly. And I guess the VAR, if they can't get conclusive proof, they have to say, play on.
Referee's call. Half-time in the Desperation Derby, and so far it's going the way of the Mariners. Nick Montgomery with the crucial moments in the 32nd minutes after some very neat approach play on the left. Newcastle have had their moments, nothing more than that really. There have been two shouts for potential.
Spor bahislerinde en yüksek oranlar, 1001 çeşit bonuslar, kayıp bonusu, 3 dakikada para çekimi ve daha fazlası belugabahis.com'da. Bahiste kalitenin adresi Beluga Bahis. Spor bahislerinde en yüksek oranlar, 1001 çeşit bonuslar, kayıp bonusu, 3 dakikada para çekimi ve daha fazlası belugabahis.com'da. Bahiste kalitenin adresi Beluga Bahis. Spor bahislerinde en yüksek oranlar, 1001 çeşit bonuslar, kayıp bonusu, 3 dakikada para çekimi ve daha fazlası belugabahis.com'da. Bahiste kalitenin adresi Beluga Bahis. Spor bahislerinde en yüksek oranlar, 1001 çeşit bonuslar, kayıp bonusu, 3 dakikada para çekimi ve daha fazlası belugabahis.com'da. Bahiste kalitenin adresi Beluga Bahis. Spor bahislerinde en yüksek oranlar, 1001 çeşit bonuslar, kayıp bonusu, 3 dakikada para çekimi ve daha fazlası belugabahis.com'da. Bahiste kalitenin adresi Beluga Bahis. Spor bahislerinde en yüksek oranlar, 1001 çeşit bonuslar, kayıp bonusu, 3 dakikada para çekimi ve daha fazlası belugabahis.com'da. Bahiste kalitenin adresi Beluga Bahis. Spor bahislerinde en yüksek oranlar, 1001 çeşit bonuslar, kayıp bonusu, 3 dakikada para çekimi ve daha fazlası belugabahis.com'da. Bahiste kalitenin adresi Beluga Bahis.
Clayton, tough times at the moment, so much at stake and you're down at the break. What was the message there at halftime?
Yeah, we believe we've got in some good areas. For us, it's just execution in the front third, and we've just told the players, be decisive, back themselves. When you make a decision in that front third, go and carry it out, execute to to the maximum capacity.
Thanks, Clayton. Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, they haven't lost a derby in 911 days, the Newcastle Jets. If they lose today, they will be in pole position, if that's the right word, to claim a second wooden spoon in the last 3 seasons and their 3rd overall. How big is this? 45 ahead, Andy Harper, for the Newcastle Jets?
Well, the way you put it, Simon, that's big enough. Let's see what sort of response. And finishing off some good approach play has been a problem for Newcastle. And the Mariners scored a nice goal through Nick Montgomery, and that was the focus of the analysis. But the defending from Newcastle was just terrible when that goal was scored in the build-up. Just terrible, and just a lot better required.
Might have been worse for them, of course, in the first half. That big talking point. Should have been a penalty awarded for the handball, or at least what looked like a handball by Lachlan Jackson. Did have a quick word with Chris Griffith-Jones at half-time. He said the second replay that we did see towards the end of that first half proved that, in their view, the ball did not strike the hand of Lachlan Jackson. Therefore, Stephen Lucas's initial decision was correct. No penalty.
And that was the view that determined the fate of that action, which was no handball, or at the very least nothing conclusive. So play on.
Bogart stepping across Connor Payne. That's the back off Jackson. I wonder at what points might we see Andrew Hall benched today after that little argument with Clayton Zane last week, but surely he has a part to play if things stay the same in terms of the scoreline here. Mullen looking hopefully for a corner. One of those who's out of contract at the end of the season for Newcastle. As we remarked at the start, probably big changes in the offing for both these clubs. There have been moments of promise in this season. There's Andrew Hall. But in the end, it's degenerated really into a battle against the wooden spoon again for both these clubs. Montgomery takes a fall. Sawyer too. Campbell a bit too clever. Quite wriggle clear with limited pitch room. Donovan taken down by Hoffman. If you were the Mariners, Andy, would you be fighting tooth and nail and throwing whatever money you can afford at Roy O'Donovan to keep him?
Yeah, I would. He seems to have settled well here, and the whole, as we know, we've watched now for 12 seasons and way before that, beyond the boundaries of the A-League, how fraught recruitment can be. And when you've got a player who has worked for you and fits in, that's worth a fair bit, I would have thought. So, and I'm very sure that the Mariners are working hard to retain him.
Mariners trying to conjure up a second goal here. Ferreira gets a second bite at it and fires it straight in at Jack Duncan. Quick release for Mullen. Tries to steer it around for Morten Nordstrand. Diligent work by Storm Roux.
But for both clubs, Simon, I mean, there's no secret formula. It gets completely into the laps of both owners. Martin Lee of Newcastle and Mike Charlesworth of the Central Coast Mariners. To what lengths are you prepared to go to win this competition? That's it. That's the start and the end of the discussion. To what lengths are you prepared to go to win this competition?
It's a lovely release incidentally by Lachlan Jackson. Andrew Naboot on the right, dangerous ball in. And Jason Hoffman was closest to it. Final touch has come off the Mariners defender. Newcastle get a corner, could have been more.
Yeah, promising for Newcastle, difficult one.
Storm Roux again.
The ball fired in from the boot and then bouncing. Look at the speed off the pitch. Jason Hoffman was there, Sawyer was thereabouts as well.
Calburn again, considering his options. It's the Jets' fifth corner. Izzo thought about coming and really got trapped in no man's land. Fortunately for him, Newcastle unable to profit, and the Mariners could be away on the counter here. Connor Payne is onside. Ferreira central if he can find him. Fabio Ferreira! It's 2 for the Mariners. Big goal in the context of the battle to avoid the wooden spoon. And it's Fabio Ferreira who's given the home team the 2-goal cushion.
Well, I reckon this is 2 really tight calls for offside. Keeping in mind, of course, it's a Newcastle Jets corner up the other end of the field, and the Jets players attacked the ball as it was slung in, collided with each other, the field opened up. He's onside, Fabio Ferreira, level and behind the ball is onside. Jack Duncan dives valiantly, can't make up the ground. That was a key pass, whether or not Connor Payne was onside at that moment. And just a cheeky little dab with the sole of his foot's enough from Fabio Ferreira to send the Mariners 2 clear.
Nice little no-look pass from Roy O'Donnell. That's what it means for those Mariners supporters. 5 goals in 10 games now for Ferreira, doing his best to earn a new deal. And more importantly, to keep the Mariners off the foot of the ladder. Changes are going to be made imminently by Mark Jones. He's got to. They're in dire straits now, the Newcastle Jets. 17 goals conceded without response in the A-League. That equals the all-time record set by the New Zealand Knights in the early years of the competition. They need a response, and quick. Ugarkovic can't find the answer, and it's Harry Ashcroft to carry it forward for the Mariners, leaving Polyak trailing in his wake. Held up by Bogart. Ashcroft's gone down heavily and remains down. And the ball is allowed to go over the sideline so Ashcroft can get some attention.
Well, the Mariners fans screaming for blood. Here's the tackle on Ashcroft. It was a good searching run by Harry Ashcroft. Ultimately, he didn't have the answer that was required because the Newcastle Jets defence was prone. Again on the counter-attack. There for the taking.
It's going to be a double change for the Jets. Andrew Hall and Lavinot Taliti, 2 attacking changes. Nick Cowburn, one of those to be withdrawn. The other, we're told, is going to be Harry Sawyer. Looks as though he's picked up a knock as well. He's got that right thigh heavily strapped. Maybe a problem he brought into the game. It was therefore maybe a bit of a gamble by Mark Jones to start him. Well, they're in a big mess now, Newcastle. Big problems. Lest we forget, Andy, they were 6th as recently as round 19.
Yeah, and daring to dream about a top 3 or 4 finish. And they had the away game in Adelaide against the team at the time in Adelaide who were clear last, because the Mariners back then were pushing for the 6 as well. And the Jets with an insipid performance down in Adelaide, a penalty to settle it. And it has gradually collapsed since then.
They've never lost 5 in a row, Newcastle, in the A-League era, but they're staring down the barrel of that particular unwanted statistic as well. And they dig themselves out of this hole. Ferreira steals in on the blind side of Mullen. Mariners fancy a third. Connor Payne in advance of Ferreira. Well defended, Lockie Jackson.
Good speed from Lockie Jackson. Good anticipation. In transition, the Jets are really struggling with the speed of the Mariners' attack. We think back 26 weeks now, Simon. People talking about the speed of this Mariners' attack, and it's not really delivered the dividend that it might have, but they're certainly looking very dangerous in this cutthroat match tonight.
Throw in by Payne. Oh, it's worked out pretty nicely in the end. On the Central Coast, Adam Berry with a snapshot. thoughts of Mark Jones. And indeed, those travelling Newcastle fans. Jeez, it's been a painful few years for the 2008 champions. 7 years without finals football. They thought they'd made progress this year. Nordstrand for Naboot. Naboot's cross. Andrew Hall to steal it. Just took it off the toe of a defender. At least they've carved an opening, the Jets.
Well, they've carved a couple of openings. You think that second goal came on the back of a Jets corner, which was a decent chance as well. This is just dropped beautifully for Andrew Hall, who reacts quickly but loses balance.
Shot count is level, but let's have the two that counts. Nordstrand climbing. Nordstrand again, trying to thread it through for the run of Haliti. Rounders have got the Jets ready, right where they want them at the moment. Fed out by Ferreira towards Payne. And Payne has juked his way past Mullen. Dangerous ball in, and O'Donovan was just waiting for any spillage from Jack Duncan.
How important was that from Jack Duncan? That was superb play from Connor Payne, leaving Daniel Mullen in his wake.
It's a good burst by Andrew Hall. Hoffman wanted it played left. He's gone right instead for Naboot. Jets have got to take risks. Polyak steered out back towards that right-hand side. It's a little bit tight in there. Dug out by Naboot. Shot blocked. Nordstrand will get a throw off Scott Galloway.
Beautiful work this from Connor Payne, and Jack Duncan does ever so well there. Couldn't cut the ball off for Fabio Ferreira, which was the second goal, but he did excellently on that occasion, Jack Duncan.
Grabbed his chance due to the early season injury to Ben Kennedy, who, if you believe the rumours in the Newcastle press, might be on his way to the Mariners next season. Maybe as a replacement for Paul Izzo. Good news for Newcastle, if there is any, is that there's still over half an hour to play. Plenty of time to try and turn this around. Hoffman ping for leaning into Kobina Appiah. Pulled up by Roux. No foul by Bogart. All the way forward for Naboot. Boganovic can't retain possession. Put forward, O'Donovan's in. And that is potentially a goal-saving challenge by Lachlan Jackson, who got back in the nick of time for the Jets. Just as the Irishman was poised to pull the trigger.
Beautiful little run from O'Donovan, outstanding defending from Jackson to make up that ground, because that would have been 3. If Jackson doesn't make that effort, you'd have to think that Roy O'Donovan's going to score there.
Hoffman being hassled and harried successfully by Appiah. forward, blocked off unceremoniously by Hoffman. Oh, and it's got away from Lachlan Jackson. Potential problems here for the Jets. O'Donovan, oh, and his shot was deflected, and that could have gone anywhere off Jackson. And in fairness to him, did at least atone partially for the error. I'm not sure the pass was too brilliant to him in the first place, in fairness.
No, and you do wonder if O'Donovan... No, he doesn't see him. He's just got eyes for the goal. But look at Connor Payne there, just arriving. There was a thought as the play was unfolding that O'Donovan might square that one to Connor Payne. But decided to go for goal himself. Jack Duncan really put off balance by the deflection.
Appiah just off the park for the moment for the Central Coast. Ferreira taking the corner short. Work back through Galloway. They started at one end of the pitch. They've gone all the way back to their goalkeeper. I don't think the home fans are too impressed. Still work out all right, though. An orthodox route to goal. Ferreira. They might find their way through, though. Appiah, good smother by Duncan.
He's got to square that. Could have been Appiah. Beautiful play. All worked from the corner. You doubted them. But this was part of the deception.
That was a set play, was it?
This was the sucker punch. He's got to square that, which would have been difficult. But still, it's the only chance really to score from there. The deflection off the retreating defenders, or Connor Payne could have stuck his toe in. Here's another chance.
Another turnover by the Jets. Coming regularly now is Connor Payne. Payne across the goalkeeper, and it's a really good stop by Jack Duncan. And scooped away to safety by Jackson.
This is threatening to be an avalanche, really. Newcastle want to wake up quickly, lest they invite humiliation on the scoreboard on top of the humiliation of the pending last place on the competition ladder.
Ominous signs for the Jets. Another free kick to defend, which Hoffman does. Ashcroft will have a dig himself. Duncan had a good view of it.
And still, a goal can change everything for Newcastle if they can find it somehow just to hang in. One decisive attack that they finish off to give them some hope, but they're such a distant second best at the moment.
Quite squeeze its way through for Rowe, who's now out of position, of course. Adam Berry just dropping into that right fullback area for the time being. Ball by Bogarts. Hoffman. Clearing header by Ashcroft. Cushion header by Ferreira. And the Mariners looking to launch a counter through Appiah. Connor Payne. Gone for the intended target. 25 minutes to go, Andy. If you're a Newcastle Jets supporter, even if your team is going to lose, you want to see some fight.
You do. You do. I don't know if the ball's been in the vicinity of Labanot Khalidi since he's come on. Just have not been able to get the ball over halfway. They're not winning any challenges in midfield.
Hoffman opens up the body and sprays it out towards Naboot, who's been peripheral really so far. Polyak. Let's see if Nabuk can impact now. To attack Galloway. No way through. Mullen. Another turnover. Payne. Apia. Payne in space centrally. Can't tee it up here for an effort or right off for O'Donovan. Out for Montgomery. Newcastle got numbers back now. Adam Berry to try and curl it in. It wasn't far off. Reaching Roy O'Donovan. Paul Locum would love the guarantee of a third goal.
Well, that's a little mini test for them, the Mariners. In their lowly position on the table, can they find the killer instinct? Look at this Jets defending. I mean, if you were to call them Brown's cows, you'd be libeling Brown's cows.
First change for the Mariners. One speedy winger to be replaced by another. Midway point of the second half. Jets have made a change, as you can see as well. Kantarovski in place of Theo Polyak. Rather unhappy 50th Jets appearance for him. Break for him. Arm in play. Free kick Mariners. He says it's accidental.
And still, as poor as the second half has been from Newcastle, they just remain one positive attack. One moment.
And those Jets fans looking rather glum. Stand opposite to us. It's been another tough season.
Well, the fans deserve much better. It goes without saying. Pound for pound, you'd have to say they're the most loyal group in the competition. They've had nothing to cheer about for 7 seasons now, and they still turn up in good numbers. And 3 changes of ownership at Newcastle, and they still turn up to support the new entity. That entity now spearheaded by Chinese businessman Martin Lee. And the city of Newcastle, the region of the Hunter Valley, and the football state of northern New South Wales waits to see what his answer is.
So far as this season is concerned, the way this one is heading, looks like Newcastle are going to have to go to the home of the Premiers in the final round and get some sort of a result if they're to have any chance of avoiding the spoon. And which, quite honestly, doesn't look very likely on today's evidence, does it?
And that'll be an A-League first, I think, Simon, won't it? On the same ground, the minor premiership trophy goes and the plunger goes.
Harger and Payne getting it all wrong between them.
And still, the Central Coast stubborn insistence on not putting this one away will frustrate Paul O'Connor and keeps the Jets in with the hope of a miracle. Not time-wise, there's still 20 minutes. Time's not completely Newcastle's enemy. But they've got to find, truly and honestly, something. Something.
Just on next week's venue again, Andy, perhaps more poignantly than the fact you brought up. Allianz Stadium, of course, was where Newcastle won the championship back in 2008. Here's Bahaja, who was drifted into a decent area. Good tackle by Kantarovski. And Storm Rowe blazes away at the ball.
Good effort from Ben Kantarowski. Not a good effort from Storm Roux.
It's one of the reasons why he's only scored 2 A-League goals in his entire career. It's rather better work from the Kiwi. Oh, that one left nothing to the imagination from Ben Kantarowski.
Well, you know, at least he put a tackle in.
Yeah.
Because
Proud Novocastrian is Ben Kantarowski.
there are 9 other players in blue shirts who are almost refusing to tackle. Strong stuff from Ben Kantarowski, and he's hoping, I'm sure, that some of his teammates take the tip.
Pride in the jersey.
Maybe do it in a less dangerous part of the field, granted, but still.
Use this free kick for Fabio Ferreira, which was nodded clear by Bogart, back in by Galloway. Bogart there again. Good touch by Haliti. Now the field could open up here for Newcastle, but it's way too far in advance of Morten Nordstrand. Kantarowski. 2 straight. Paul Izzo out to sweep. The language of the Jets not great even from the throw-in, and it must be said. No real eagerness.
Bereft, isn't it, really?
Those home fans are happy enough as things stand. The Spooners last year, of course. And here would take them into 8th spot. Final round. Mullen punches the ball into the area, away by Ashcroft. Bounce has deceived Trent Bahagia. It's with Jason Hoffman. He's looking out pretty well. Chested down by Naboots. Daniel Mullen stretching, couldn't reach it. Alan Berry pinched it, and here come the Central Coast. 3 against 3, 5 if you include the deeper lying attacking players, but they butchered it.
Yeah, and they could easily have been included in that attack, Simon, with just a little bit of quality. They're keeping the Jets alive.
The boot. Lighted through tempting gap, and he's squared it up for Andrew Hall. Chance here, and Hall tried to return the compliments and tee up a teammate. Really should have had a crack there. I'm sure Mark Jones thinks so.
Yes, well done from Andrew Naboot. This could have been the moment which ignited the Jets. Just get the feeling Andrew Hall didn't back the technique on his left foot to shoot.
Meantime, Nigel Bogart late on Connor Payne. Next booking of the season, Nigel Bogart. He's going to miss that final round game away to Sydney. It's clumsy. It's late.
Yeah, I got no problem with that being a yellow card at all. Certainly fired up Connor Payne.
Up by Rose towards O'Donovan. Magnifying the Jets' problems today. Ashcroft's taken a very awkward fall. Should also pay a lot of credit to the Central Coast because there's a lot of pressure on them today. Bottom of the ladder, they had to win.
Well, they've put in the performance so far that they needed to. They've been very keen in the one-on-one contests. They haven't been able to stop the Jets from creating chances. They haven't dominated the game in that sense, but they've certainly won the fight. And when you get down to the effort to avoid last place, the starting position is how much do you want to fight.
Here's Andrew Hall, another great chance for the Jets. And Paul Izzo got his body in the way. And Nick Montgomery prevents any further damage from Ugarkovic, who's going to have a lash at it second time around. And the Mariners survive. And their goalkeeper has not had an awful lot to do today. A big part of them.
Another chance falling for Andrew Hall. And forces a save off Izzo. Wasn't exactly what was required from Hall, very obviously, of course, and then Ugarkovic deciding to have a go. Why not? And again, you know, there is going to be this temptation, I guess, from some quarters to think that, you know, the Jets take one or two of these chances and it's a totally different game. And of course, you know, that's to repeat Football Manager, that's true, but they're still in the game because the Mariners just haven't been able to put them away. With those breakaways, those counter-attacks, those extra numbers in those attacking situations, and they haven't been able to make it three. Again, when you look at these phases of the play and look at the willingness of the yellow shirts to close the ball down, in all honesty, couldn't make the same comments about Newcastle's general performance. Yes, they've had chances to trouble the scorer and would have changed the flow of the game had they taken one of those chances, no doubt. But the meat and drink of this football match has all been about the Mariners' appetite.
Andrew Hall's had a couple of chances, might be another one here. Labanot Haliti sent a bit wide and can only hit the side netting. At the ground where he once effectively won the premiership for Western Sydney Wanderers a few years back. And that would have been, well, maybe not quite as big a goal, but certainly a hugely important one for Newcastle, and he couldn't convert.
Great run through from Hall. And this was the case now. Does Labi Haliti have a chance to square it back? You can see that Nordstrom was arriving. Andrew Hall's been very, very busy since coming in off the bench. Maybe too much of an ask for Labanot Haliti to square that one for Nordstrom. And this is, having not finished off the Jets, this is the challenge for the Mariners. How do they close the field up better? Because they were just played off the break last week, got hammered on the scoreboard and left so many gaps, and they're starting to do that again now.
Jets now 7 hours and more without a goal. Can they find one? Oh, Hall's tripped over his own boots and handle the ball. Well, if ever a moment summed up the sort of run that the Newcastle Jets are on at the moment, that is it.
Yeah, well, I feel for Andrew Hall on this. This is anxiety. It's
Whoops.
the grassy knoll. Yeah, he's had a crack since he's come on. He should have scored by now. He might have put one on for another teammate.
Minutes to go. Hoffman. Newcastle have at least created some chances. Can they force a way through? Nordstrand. Hall. They seem to run out of ideas there, Andrew Hall. He's trying to desperately get that goal side of Fabio Ferreira and atone for his mistake. And a goal would make it really interesting whether the Mariners would wobble. So far they've stood firm. They've had their opportunities to finish this game off on the counter. No question about that. All the onus on the Jets. Andrew Hall picks the ball up in the defence, slips it through for Haliti. Still a row too quick for him. Kantarovski. Just beyond Ugarkovic. Well read by Ashcroft. Payne. Adam Berry. Montgomery. His first half goal gave Central Coast that vital advantage. Galloway with the step-overs, couldn't get around Mullen, crossed by Payne. Steered away to safety for now by Jackson. Losing his bearings and the ball. Got it forward by Kantarovski. It's not a bad release, in fact. And Haliti is around Liam Rose, who got that goal side in double quick time and had to. Just opened up momentarily for Haliti and for the Jets. Quickly taken corner. Scooped in by Hall, but straight at Purlizzo.
Well, look at the space here. And the Mariners can pull forward again. It'll be 5 on 4. Do they want to finish this one off or not?
Fabio Ferreira leading the charge. Good tackle.
Good defending.
Kantarovski again.
Ferreira may be tiring. Third minute, he went right from the kickoff with these energetic runs. There's 2 Mariners down on halfway with cramped.
Second change by Paul O'Connor. He's going to see Josh Bingham come on in place of Connor Payne. Such a cramp for Payne. As soon as he's right, he'll be off. If that makes any sense. Played an important part in what looks increasingly like a Mariners' success today. Going to be replaced by Josh Bingham, who just put pen to paper on a 1-year contract this week to extend his stay in Gosford as well. After all that, we're ready with the corner with Fabio Ferreira. Montgomery got a piece of it, not quite enough. Nordstrand. It's well defended by Harry Ashcroft. Just out-muscle the Dane. Josh Bingham. Arjun. It's the final 5, and you sense that that's the wave of Newcastle pressure has subsided.
No, I think it'll continue. It's whether they can stop things at the other end, and it's not as though they've had to stop anything because the Mariners just haven't been good enough to finish this one off to date.
Dribble behind for a corner. Looks like we might escape that big storm that's heading this way as well, at least until full time. Somehow remain dry. Saw that radar picture, it looked pretty grim. Might be an interesting drive home. It's getting closer. I've just seen the screen. corner. Cuts in towards Bingham, who got a piece of it. It's Crofts. O'Donovan. Slipped through by Ferreira. Liam Rose. And Galloway. All the way through for Kantarowski as he looked to release Andrew Hall. Back come the Mariners through Adam Berry. Bit of space here for Scott Galloway, might have a dig. Charged down maybe by the hand of Lachlan Jackson. It was Stephen Lucas deemed it to be accidental. And a low challenge by Hall, which was all rather unnecessary on Rose, and he goes into the book. Not been a happy 7 days for Andrew Hall.
Now frustrated. Young man.
VARs have cleared this as being okay by Stephen Lucas. Not an obvious error.
Apparently.
You're very cryptic today, Mr. Harper.
I'm just waiting to see how this thing breathes. He's in the box. At first I thought it's not going to be a VAR because it's not in the penalty box, but he is in the penalty. Well, come on.
The arms are away.
Is that a natural position? You know. Was it not in the penalty area?
Well, I think more crucially, it's about, is it an obvious error by the referee? But that can come in that category. I know what you're saying. More questions than answers, perhaps. Anyway, Fabio Ferreira takes his leave. Scorer of that crucial second goal, and Michael Neal on to see the job through for the home team. His first task is to challenge his own player in the air. He won it pretty cleanly, says Bingham. Offside, a little bit careless by Central Coast. Straight from the throw.
So Newcastle, for all intents and purposes, are going to have to pack their bags, get home and lick their wounds, and then prepare to take on Sydney next week away from home in party mode. There's Laurie McKinnon.
Not sure he's in party mode at the moment.
I'm sure he's nursing more than a sore foot at the moment.
Got a busy off-season coming up. They've got to get things right next year.
The Mariners, to stay off the bottom, have to go to Melbourne victory. Adelaide have got Champions League and then play the Wanderers at home next week.
Not exactly where Storm Roo wanted it to go. Izzo puts it into the top tier of the stand. 90 minutes almost up. The Newcastle Jets long unbeaten run against the Mariners almost up as well. Two footballs on the pitch for the moment. Just to confuse the issue, this is Hoffman. He's having his jersey tugged by Bahaja. Advantage played, and then Bahaja gets the better of Andrew Hall. So we move it to 3 added minutes. Bogart. It's too little too late for Newcastle. Squared up for Kantarowski. Looking at the back post was Naboo, but again it's not quite accurate enough.
Well, Ben Kantarowski can be proud of his effort since he's come on. Pass obviously was a little bit miscued, and perhaps Sandra Naboo didn't read it as he might. But a really strong performance. Full of character for the Central Coast Mariners. They were prized open a number of times. They found it difficult to close up the field, and the Jets had plenty of open space opportunities. for their part, the Mariners could have finished this a lot earlier, and it mightn't have been a nervous ride in through injury time. But they've clawed their way past their nearest rivals. And they've heaped scorn upon humiliation for the Newcastle Jets with 1 week to go.
So a bit of consolation at the end. No way forward for Andrew Hall. Launched upfield by Rue. Very tired Roy O'Donovan, just ready for any scraps to be fed his way. Too heavy off the boot of Lachlan Jackson. Pretty dispiriting afternoon. Another pretty dispiriting season if you're a fan of the Jets. Here comes the Storm. They're just about going to get through to full time. Those flags starting to stiffen in the breeze. Told us hailstones on the way as well, so we are in this region. Take care. Oh my goodness, look at the palm trees go.
Mate, the sauce bottles are under threat,
yeah.
Simon.
We're just about going to get through to full time here.
The tempest only just beginning at the Newcastle Jets Football Club.
Flipped off the head of the boot. There we go. Stephen Lucas calls a halt to proceedings. The roars go up from the home fans. A first derby win in 911 days for the Central Coast Mariners. And boy, they needed it. They are off the foot of the ladder with 1 round to play. The Jets replaced them in 10th. And they've now lost 5 in a row for the first time in their A-League life. And they will now have to beat Sydney FC away next week to have any chance of avoiding the wooden spoon. A desperate day on the back of a desperate run for the Jets. It's all gone horribly wrong in the latter part of the season for them. And the Mariners, who wanted to make the finals but couldn't, have perhaps a little crumb of consolation. They've ended that long wait for a derby win, and they may yet avoid the wooden spoon. Goals in either half from Nick Montgomery, and then in the second period from Fabio Ferreira, enough to see off the Jets. The Mariners 2, the Jets 0. Well, as the rain starts to fall and the wind speed picks up, the players will want to get off pretty quickly. Certainly the Newcastle Jets fans, or players I should say, will need no encouragement. A very depressing day for them. They did create some chances second half, but again, too little, too late. Let's go down to Daniel Garb. Hope you got an umbrella, Garby.
Yeah, we're undercover, Simon. The Storm's just hit outside, so we've come into here. Far from ideal outside, but an ideal night for Connor Payne, our NAB man of the match. $500 for you, Connor. Well done. You're off the bottom of the table. Your first derby win in almost 3 seasons. How enjoyable an evening was that?
Yeah, look, obviously it was fantastic to get the points. Obviously we needed to come out and show some spirit for the locals around here and our fans, and you know all the people that put trust in us. So I think it was great to come out, even though we're not playing for the 6, to come out and beat our arch rivals.
Got such a young team. Has it been a massive challenge to get the team up mentally and physically every week as it's gone on?
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those where if you lose a game, heads drop, and you know Paolo and Ivan have done a great job of trying to get the boys up every week, and it's been a challenge, but we've got a lot of performances that we can be proud of, and we should really be higher up the ladder.
Got the job done tonight, a derby win, and you're off the bottom. Well done.
Cheers, thanks, Garby. Ta.
Yeah, and celebrations, as you saw from Coach Paul Oak on the pitch as well. It's only small beer, perhaps, avoiding the wooden spoon, but I feel they've taken a big step towards doing that today. And the few that have braved these very wet conditions late on, getting the thumbs up and the thanks from those Central Coast Mariners players. And the home team, on balance, worthy winners tonight. Big job to do in the off-season for the Newcastle Jets. That's us from here in a very wet Gosford. Time now for Sunday Shootout and Tara Rushton.
and welcome to Shootout. Thanks for joining us as we wrap up a big weekend of football, and alongside me for all of it tonight, it's a very warm welcome to John Cosmina, Ned Zelich.
Hello, Tara.
And Mark
Good
Bosnich.
evening,
How
Tara.
was
Good evening,
your
gentlemen. How are you?
weekend, gents?
Yes.
Good weekend?
Yeah, it has been.
I'm glad.